First question is like you did so many performances of this on stage, and then to bring it onto a screen, was it the easiest role that you had to play then, or did you still have to almost clean slate it and start from scratch to do it?
Well, I would never have clean slated it because there was so much I gained from playing it on stage, but I was able to give up happily the notion of having to put out that kind of energy for 2 hours every night, because the scenes then got cut up, and I also was very grateful at not having to project it, but just simply play him internally as best I could.
One of in the film itself, Nixon said that one of his problems was that the camera kind of they got to see certain things about him that maybe his voice was able to overcome, or like, I don't know if I didn't phrase it very well, but like and so there are a lot of really nice close-up moments in this film too, and so when you are acting and the camera's really that close to you, what kind of process I'm just curious, like what kind of process do you go through to give that kind of performance, because it's really raw?
Well, you have to mean it. It's really that simple. It takes a lot of time and work and years of performing, but you have to exist in front of a camera the way you would exist in your own home privately, and you have to let that lens grab your soul. You just have to allow it in, and if you're deep enough in your character, and if you're really sweated into it in a way that you're able to go any direction that the director wants you to go in, the camera really is your friend in a way. It's very often that you'll do something, and Ron said this too, you'll do something that only the camera sees. So he wouldn't see it until he went and looked in a room and watched it up on a screen.
To have a director like Ron take something that you're so familiar with and then bring it to a screen, then was it interesting to work with him? What did he bring to the table that was a little bit different from your previous director?
He brought a total open teach me quality. He knew what he was going to do as a director, and once the film started, he was in charge and it was his film. But until that time, and even during the course of the shoot, his attitude was, teach me. Tell me, what's your character about? What do you want to get across? What's happening here? What's most important to you in terms of the character's trajectory throughout the movie? I'm perfectly happy to take second place to your knowledge of this character. And he did that beautifully. And then he, rightly so, made it his film,
I wasn't that familiar with the Nixon-Frost conversation. I knew about it, but I didn't really know. So this, for me, it was like the first time watching this thing unfold in front. And what was really interesting was that here's a president at the end who apologizes for some of his wrongdoings and stuff. And so in the current state of a situation where, you've got this president that has done many wrong things, I'm just wondering, was there any parallels that you kind of saw in what Nixon had did and the Bush administration?
I think what happens in today's world in all arenas, it isn't just politics, it's everywhere. There seems to be fear on public figures' minds of saying, I'm sorry, I misspoke, I shouldn't have said that, I led you down the wrong road, or I made a mistake, or yes, I thought that then, but I rethink it now, and I've changed my mind. Everybody seems to be so afraid, as if none of us are consistent, so why should we assume a politician is? So when a reporter goes at a politician, in 1984, you said this. Well, that's almost 30 years ago. I've changed my mind. And what I said then was wrong. It was a mistake. I wish I hadn't voted for that. In retrospect, it was a mistake. I think the American people would embrace more politicians than they think if the politician admitted mistake. Now, when I say that to journalists, very sophisticated journalists, they all tell me I'm naive, that the public doesn't want to hear that. They don't want to hear anybody say, gee, I was wrong when I said that, because then they'll never trust them again. And I think the opposite.
I agree with you. The last question then. I mean, what's amazing about this film is the fact that there's a humanity to a president that kind of maybe the impression that I got was that he was a bad guy, or like just and so was it? It must be really interesting to kind of play a role like that where people have initial perceptions of somebody and then like kind of flip it around. So I'm just wondering if you can talk about.
Well, so far it's just the beginning of people seeing it, so I'm just beginning to hear what the reactions are. But a great many people say, I didn't want to like him, I don't want to like him, I certainly didn't want to feel sympathy towards him or compassion towards him. But I started to feel, okay, this guy did an awful lot of bad things, but look at the sadness of a life so locked up, a man so deeply, profoundly away from the rest of humanity.
It's a lot of fun to watch on screen. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.